Do your curls often end up very wonky, meaning they're misshaped and they're not taking their usual curl or wave pattern? This is super common, and I'm gonna share with you 8 common causes that could be happening throughout your styling and drying routine that could be leading to wonky curls. And I'm gonna share with you solutions for each of these for achieving a more even curl pattern. And you won't want to miss cause number 5 because it's a simple switch that you can make in your routine that's going to ensure your curls dry with a more even shape. If you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Gina, and here I make videos all about naturally curly hair. I love simplifying things for beginners, talking about the science of hair, and really helping you problem solve. So if you enjoy those types of videos, make sure you subscribe before you go. The first common cause of wonky curls is your hair is not wet enough when you're going to apply your styling products. So if your hair is starting to dry, like my hair is here, where it's looking very stringy and frizzy, your curls are not going to form in their usual natural shape. So I'm starting out with clean towel dried hair. I always mist my hair down with a continuous spray bottle. If your hair is too dry when you apply your products, it will definitely end up stringy. It just won't clump together as easily, which can then cause those misshaped curls. So this spray bottle is from Curlsmith. Any spray bottle will do though, as long as it's something that will just lightly mist the hair. It's great for refreshing too, but you don't want to overly saturate your hair. You can totally just use your hands under the tap as well if you don't have a spray bottle. So I prefer for my hair to be more on the damp side, to where my scalp is not soaking wet, it's not dripping and soaking my shirt, but it's also evenly wet and there aren't any patchy areas of frizz. I also like to kind of brush that water through again, just to make sure it's evenly wet and there's not random patches of frizz. And you will see me usually mist my hair down throughout my styling routine. I do add water as I go because it starts to dry as I'm styling. Now I'm going to apply my styling product. So I'm first using a curl cream for moisture and to help clump the curls. So this one is from AG. This is the recoil cream. It helps to improve curl retention and clump the curls. I like to just rake this in. You can also smooth it in with praying hands. I really like to focus this on areas of my hair that are very dry, such as the ends, the front sections, and then I work the rest of it up to the top. Another thing I wanted to note with this curl cream is make sure you don't use too much of it. A little definitely goes a long way. You want to emulsify it in your hands and then continue spreading it throughout your hair, because if you use too much of it, you're probably not going to get hold out of your gel. I chose this curl cream because it really does help with recoil, like the name says. I noticed my curls really bounce back up. They clump so much better. Then I like to also brush that through. I like to make sure my products are evenly coated so that way you don't end up with random patches of frizz or areas of hair that don't have any product on them. For gel, I'm using the AG Liquid Effects. This is a very liquidy gel. This gives me a medium to strong hold. It has humidity blocking ingredients, which are really nice. I love the slippery formula. It's pretty lightweight as well, and it does contain some proteins, which are gonna also help to hold our curl shape. But gel is really essential for holding that curl shape into place. If you're not using a gel that has strong enough hold, your curl shape is likely going to fall, or you might end up with more of those wonky curls, because gels help give your hair that structure and will help hold them over time, so that way you're not having to do a ton of refreshing on next day hair. So I'm going to go on to styling, but if you don't want to style, there is nothing wrong with just leaving your curls the way they are. If you do prefer that look and you like how your hair looks without styling techniques, then you can just go straight to drying your hair. However, if you're struggling with wonky shaped curls, if your curls don't really take much of a consistent pattern naturally, and you do want to enhance them further, then you can use styling techniques such as brush styling and finger coiling. So I prefer to do a combination of both on my curls for maximum definition. So while my hair is in sections, that's when I will do a brush styling to help define the curls. Sometimes I will do an entire section all at once just for a very fast method, or I will do individual curls. But you need to be using a brush that does give a bit of tension. If you have a regular hairbrush, you can press your palm against the hair as you glide down to apply some tension. You don't want to give too much tension. You don't want to cause breakage or do this too much, but this will actually help to create that curl shape that's more consistent. So this will help to encourage the curl formation because it's applying a very light tension. Think of it sort of like using scissors on a ribbon and running them down the ribbon to curl it. I'm using a brush too that doesn't apply too much tension, and it has a smooth texture to it that will reduce breakage. It's from Tangle Teaser. I can link it for you down below. But you also want to make sure that your hair has plenty of slip. If you're using a gel that's super thick and hard to work with, you might want to apply your gel after you brush style instead of before like I do. That's just a way for me to get max definition and make sure that my curls are fully coated. That's why I do it before I brush style, but some people like to apply their gel after they brush style. You just get less of an even coverage that way. So I also like to mix in some finger coiling. So this technique just involves twirling the hair around your finger to help it spiral. So this is more ideal for tighter curl patterns and also short hair. It's really nice to do on areas that are shorter. I like to do it around my hairline. I'll also sometimes do finger coiling after I brush style a piece of hair in any areas that are just not bouncing back up correctly. A lot of times you'll see me kind of twirl around my finger after I brush style, and that's just to help really spin the hair around in the right direction, which then helps it to curl more evenly. So this may be one of the biggest causes of wonky curls, and that is brush styling incorrectly. So this is usually due to not holding your brush correctly or you're going in the wrong direction. I actually have an entire video on my channel all about troubleshooting brush styling where I cover this in more detail, but a lot of it is just trial and error. So you can either brush style vertically or horizontally, just experiment to find out what works best for your curl type. But when brush styling vertically, you want to make sure that you curl in the direction that your curl naturally wants to go. So that can either be towards your face or away from your face. Your curls might even change direction and alternate. I definitely have some curls that do that and I just roll with it. I don't worry about it. So if a section doesn't curl, just try going in the other direction. I usually will only correct it per se on areas that are like around my face or curls that are just bothering me. I don't try and correct like every hair on my head by any means. When brush styling horizontally, you can turn your wrist under or over as well. So just try both and see which one results in the best curls. So horizontal sections usually lead to wonky curls for me because I have curls all within that same section that will alternate directions. And holding it horizontally curls all of those curls in the same direction. So if brushing an entire section horizontally is not working for you, then this could be why, if you have hair like me that likes to alternate directions. This can also happen a lot when curls are still damaged and they're recovering. A lot of times they will change directions. But overall, don't stress about it and just pick a direction. A lot of times I don't even pay attention to it. If it just looks really wonky, I might fix it. Otherwise, I just move on. And when my curls are really turning out weird in all different directions, I will just finger coil instead or just leave it. And just a reminder, your curls do not have to be perfect. These techniques are just to help you out with those problem areas. You don't even have to do your entire head. Once I'm done brush styling, I will usually scrunch my hair with a hair towel or with just my hands. So scrunching can actually cause wonky shape curls for some people. I often see this more in people who have large curl clumps that are too big for their natural curl thickness. So if you over clumped your curls and then scrunch, you might notice some of these wonky curls. If you think that scrunching might be causing your curls to be misshaped, maybe try a routine where you don't scrunch at all. I know this is really hard. We always scrunch by default, but maybe just try to avoid it and see if your curls turn out better. So now it's time to diffuse. And our next common cause of wonky misshaped curls is a simple switch that you can make in your routine that makes the biggest difference. So if you're currently letting your hair start to air dry before you diffuse, then you're not going to have as much shrinkage and your curls might dry wonky. So if you prefer a more elongated look, then you can definitely air dry first. However, if you like to enhance your shrinkage and if you're trying to get your curls to really spring up, then you need to diffuse right away. When you air dry and then you try and change the shape afterwards by diffusing and enhancing the curls, then you will notice that your curls don't really spring up, and that's because the curl shape is already set once it's starting to dry. It's important to understand how the hydrogen bonds work in our hair. So these bonds are responsible for the curl pattern or the shape and structure of our hair. They temporarily break when our hair becomes wet, and that's why our hair becomes longer and straightens out when it's wet. And then they reform when our hair dries, and that's why our curls usually spring back up and take their shape once they dry. So diffusing helps to improve our curl definition because it sets those hydrogen bonds quicker in our hair so the curls retain their shape. They retain that shape that they are in the diffuser when you're kind of scrunching it up towards your scalp. And especially if you're using a gel that forms a cast, it will set it much quicker than air drying. Once that cast forms, you really can't change the shape or shrink the hair up even more. The hovering diffusing technique will definitely reduce frizz, and it's less damaging for the hair because the air is just at a distance. You're not having direct heat on your hair. However, this method will not increase any shrinkage because your hair is drying in that more elongated position, unless if you place your hair over a surface or maybe cup your hair as it starts to dry. When I'm not recording in this location, I will usually plot my hair over my counter as I'm diffusing and hovering at first, just for a few minutes so it sets a little bit more shrunken up and not so elongated. So another one of the top reasons for wonky curls is diffusing improperly or the way that you're placing that section of hair into your diffuser bowl. So I'm using the Curlsmith Defrizzion hairdryer, which has a super large diffuser head and it's flat. The design of this diffuser is specifically made to prevent misshaped curls and tangles within your hair as it's in the bowl. And since it's so large, I'm able to fit almost all of my hair in the bowl all at once. I mean, my hair is low density, but it is nice that it can cover my whole head. I still work in sections though, because I want to be able to evenly place the curls in the diffuser. So if you watch closely at the curls, look how they wind up within the diffuser. It's almost like an accordion. If you have too much hair in your diffuser, then you're not able to really tell. And if you don't have enough, then your hair might start to dry around it as you were diffusing just that small section. While I do some upside down diffusing for volume, I also prefer to diffuse upright because this prevents wonky curls underneath. And when I'm right side up, I'm able to tilt my head to the side and then ensure that the full length of the hair gets pressed up into the diffuser evenly. If your hair doesn't spiral though, it's super common for waves and looser curls to bend in various directions or different ways in the diffuser, and that's okay. Also, make sure that your hairdryer is not blowing too hard, which can just move the hair around too much as you're diffusing. I usually always have my hairdryer on the lowest speed setting and the highest heat setting, or medium heat. This Curlsmith hairdryer doesn't get too hot, so the highest heat setting isn't too hot for my curls. One other tip is to turn off your hairdryer and then place your section in carefully and then turn it back on. This is called the pixie diffusing technique, and it can help reduce frizz and wonky curls. If you're short on time and need to run, I recommend finishing with air drying, but you want to make sure that you feel a cast on your hair and you like how your curl shape looks before you stop diffusing. So once it's set in place, then you can finish air drying. It's better to diffuse for 5 or 10 minutes first and then finish air drying the rest of the time if you can't diffuse for the whole time. So the bottom line is diffusing gives you more control over how your curls turn out. Now that my hair is dry, I wanted to show you a tip for fixing wonky curls after the fact. It's important to remember that curls will never be perfect, so even with all of these tips, I'm bound to still find a wonky curl. But if you do want to fix it, here's how you do it. Just grab the curl and lightly mist it with some water, but don't saturate it too much. Redefine it with a brush, or you can finger coil it until the shape is corrected. You might want to wet your finger when you're doing this too, or even apply a little bit of gel. Then diffuse it for a few seconds to set. Without diffusing, it's likely to dry messed up again, so you do want to diffuse it to set it in place. You can try air drying it though if you think the shape will stay. And if it's still wonky, don't worry about it. Curls are going to be imperfect. So if you are still seeing wonky curls, there are 2 more causes that I wanted to share with you that could be the root cause of this still happening. If your curls are damaged or if they are over moisturized, then they're not going to curl up as easily and they could dry with a wonky shape. So damage can occur from using too much heat on your hair. Maybe you're going back and forth between straightening your hair and wearing it naturally curly. Maybe you bleach your hair or you highlight your hair. All of those things damage the structure and the integrity of our hair, and that can make it kind of lose its shape a little bit over time. A lot of times when people have straighter ends all throughout the bottom as they're growing out their damage, they will need to get those ends cut off because there's only so much you can do. If it's damaged, it's not really curling up. So that's usually the cause of straighter ends, is hair damage. If your hair is over moisturized, that could be from just using too many thick, rich products, or maybe the products are too heavy for you that you're using and you're only using those products in back-to-back wash day routines, and you might notice that your hair feels almost damp even when it's dry, and it might feel kind of gummy and mushy, and it looks very limp and it's not really springing up. Like when you pull on your hair, it doesn't bounce up and it just looks straighter than you know your natural curl pattern is. That could be over moisturized hair. So in order to fix that, you would just want to clarify your hair to fully remove that excess product buildup or whatever is causing your hair to be over moisturized, and then kind of lay off the conditioners and curl creams and very rich products. Maybe just use a lightweight spray leave-in conditioner and a gel, or just go straight to your gel and that's it. And then kind of work back in other products to see how you can find the right balance of moisture in your hair. You also might want to incorporate some protein in your routine, whether if you have damaged or for over moisturized hair, or you could use a protein deep conditioning mask once to 3 times a month, just depending on how damaged that your hair is. You can use it a little bit more frequently. And cause number 8 is you might just be overdue for a trim. If you are stretching it way too long in between when you get your hair cut, you probably are experiencing limp curls. This is a telltale sign for me that I'm due for a trim. When the bottom hemline of my hair looks super stringy and it's just not curling up, and I'm really noticing the uneven curl patterns that I have, that's when I know it's time for a trim. And even the smallest little dusting across the bottom of my hair makes the biggest difference. So I don't get any layers in my hair. I just get a blunt cut straight across, and that's what works best for my hair for getting more fullness and volume at the ends, or else my ends look very sparse and stringy. So I don't technically have any layers right now. If you're able to see a curl specialist, I would definitely do that, so that way you can get a cut that's right for your particular curl pattern. Sometimes they will cut it dry, so that way you can make sure you get an even cut. I just wanted to remind you to love the natural curls that you have. Curly hair is going to be uneven. It's not going to be perfect, and we really just have to embrace it. Most of the time, I don't even worry about wonky curls. And you can just work in these tips and tricks here and there to try and enhance your curls more, but just try and love the natural texture that you have. If you are needing help with picking your curly hair products, then you can check out the shop page on my blog. I will have that link down below, and you can filter by all of your needs. So if you want to find some more products with protein, or if you think you might need a stronger hold gel, then you can use those filters to find the perfect product for you. And if you're still needing more help with getting curl definition specifically at the root, I have a video all about how to get curlier roots, so that way your hair will actually start to curl right at the root and it will be more even throughout. This will also give you a lot more root volume and lift right at the root. So I will have that video linked right here on the screen, and I will talk to you over there. Bye everyone.